The postseason test gave the teams a priceless opportunity to test out their new drivers for 2023. There were plenty of young drivers given an opportunity to show their speed around the Yas Marina circuit. Pirelli also got a look at how their tyres for 2023 would perform in the coming season. So, what actually happened during the one-day test? And what have we learned for next year? We'll fill you in on everything that happened, so stick around until the end of the video. The final test of the year may mark a last outing for the 2022 cars, something some drivers will be very happy about. But it will provide useful preparation for 2023 as a number of drivers, including Fernando Alonso and Oscar Piastri, prepare for a season with a new team. The test is an important opportunity for newcomers to get a first read of their new teams, completing initial seat fittings and learning how the systems all work. Teams can also get feedback from the new driver about potential changes to make for next year on small but important details, such as steering wheel buttons or pedal position. Adding to the importance of the test is the fact there will be only 3 days of pre-season testing in 2023, taking place in Bahrain from the 23rd to the 25th of February. This year's 2 tests were a luxury the teams were afforded because of the vast amount of changes to the technical regulations. With the race drivers getting a day and a half each, this extra day is precious extra track time. Watching from home, you might think that it's a bit of a farce, but for the teams and drivers, they took the test incredibly seriously. It's going to be always important, more in terms of comfort with the steering wheel, grip, buttons, pedals, all those kinds of things, said Fernando Alonso, who made his first appearance for Aston Martin on Tuesday after his exit from Alpine. Next year, we have only 1 day and a half in Bahrain, and then you start a championship. So a day like on Tuesday is gold for these kinds of things. We'll come back to Alonso later, who had plenty to say about his new team, and take a look at some of the new drivers who were on track. First though, what did the timing board look like at the end of the day? After seeing teammate Charles Leclerc set the fastest time in the first half of the day, Sainz took over in his Ferrari F175 with around 4 hours remaining. The Spaniard set a fastest lap time of 1 minute 25 seconds .245 for Ferrari, edging 0.138 seconds clear of Leclerc to close out F1 2022 at the head of the field. When Sainz set his quick lap with a couple of hours remaining, Ferrari had been on course for a 1-2-3 as its young driver, Robert Shwartzman, sat third after a full day of running. Some improvements meant that Shwartzman was shuffled back to 6th place, only for the Ferrari test driver to set a new personal best, with 23 minutes left in the day, to regain third and finish just 0.017 seconds off Leclerc's lap. As a former Formula 3 winner, Shwartzman is definitely one to be excited about for the future. And just before I fill you in on how the rest of the teams ran and what it means for next year, let me tell you about Established Titles, an incredible company that's preserving the natural woodlands of Scotland and helping with global reforestation. This amazing last-minute gift makes you the owner of 1 square foot of land in Eddleston, Scotland, and Established Titles plants a tree with the global charities, 1 tree planted and trees for the future. That's great, but this gift offers even more. There is an old Scottish tradition of calling landowners lairds, which is lord or lady to those of you who don't live in 15th century Scotland. By gifting someone land in Scotland, you give them the right to call themselves a lord or lady, and they get a certificate to prove it. You can add lord or lady to your credit card, plane tickets, or even your FIA super license. You do have one, don't you? The first 200 people who purchase a title pack using our link will get their plot pretty much directly next to mine. This isn't just an amazing last-minute gift. We could also start our own little Scottish kingdom. Established Titles is actually running a massive Black Friday sale right now. Plus, if you use the code F1Reverse, you get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/F1Reverse to get your gifts now and help support the channel. If you bought an Established Titles product with our code, let us know in the comments below so we can shout you out by your proper title. Right, back to how the drivers performed. Pierre Gasly ended the day 4th as he made his debut for Alpine, setting his best lap time in the final 10 minutes of running. The Frenchman was followed by former Red Bull teammate Max Verstappen, who wound up 5th after taking over in the afternoon at Red Bull from Sergio Perez, who finished 13th overall. A number of drivers got to work with their new teams ahead of 2023, including Fernando Alonso and Oscar Piastri, who made highly anticipated debuts for Aston Martin and McLaren respectively. Alonso sat third halfway through the day and eventually finished 12th fastest, with Piastri a few places behind him in 14th. Williams were one of 3 teams able to run their full 2023 driver lineup due to Sargent being a rookie, something McLaren and AlphaTauri were also able to do. The Williams drivers' performance was a bit of a surprise to everyone as they finished 6th and 7th at the end of the day. At AlphaTauri, Nick de Vries impressed with his 8th place finish and the most laps of any driver on the day, 151 to be precise. The final rookie driving next year, Oscar Piastri, ended up 14th overall on his public debut for McLaren and comfortably exceeded 100 laps despite causing the first red flag of the day when he stopped at turn 7. So what did we actually learn from the test? Well, the first thing we now know is that the 2023 tyres will actually work. There was a lot of worry around the paddock as the sport aims to move away from tyre blankets in the future. The temperature of the blankets was due to drop from 70 degrees to 50 degrees in 2023, but that plan was scrapped after the test events in America and Mexico proved the teams weren't ready for the change. Formula 1 still plans to scrap the blankets for 2024, but that will be on completely new Pirelli rubber. So not only did the 2023 tyres work, but there will be more of them than previously. Pirelli will introduce a 6th dry weather compound to their lineup for 2023, with the C0 set to be added to the range. The tyre maker usually nominates 3 tyres, a soft, medium and hard, for each Grand Prix weekend, picked from a selection of compounds ranging from C1, the hardest, to C5, the softest. The C0 is based on the current C1 band of tyre, with a new version of the C1 set to be introduced. This season, the hardest tyres in the Pirelli range have been really poor. They were very rarely used throughout the season, meaning that the teams only had 2 tyres to play with at some races. So for next season, we should see a more competitive hard tyre in the races where it was missing in 2022. We also know that Fernando Alonso is very excited for next season. After retiring early in 4 of the last 7 races of the season, the Spanish veteran was very excited to leave Alpine behind him and start his new life at Aston Martin. He was the first person out of the garage at the test, such was his excitement to try out a new car. Completing almost 100 laps in an F1 car is always going to be uncomfortable, but thanks to a poorly fitted seat, Alonso was in a lot of pain when he left the car. Nonetheless, he had a lot of good things to say about his new team. "I'm so happy," said Alonso. "I cannot be overconfident because everything is going to change with the car for next year. But the feeling I had in the garage with the guys, the potential of the team, the talent I see in the engineering room is outstanding. I'm really happy right now. It's only the first day, but you can spot the energy in the team, how motivated everyone is. Honestly, I can't wait for next year, because I felt a very special atmosphere in the garage." There might be question marks about his age and motivation, but make no mistake, if Aston Martin can provide Alonso with a competitive car, he will be a menace on track for the rest of the midfield. Perhaps he can even find the pace to compete with McLaren and his former team Alpine next year. The final takeaway for us from the test probably shouldn't come as a surprise. Nico Hülkenberg managed to complete over 100 laps for Haas during the test, but unsurprisingly, the 35-year-old wasn't race fit after 2 years out of the sport. "We'd planned to get plenty of driving in and we almost succeeded," he said, referring to the forced 1.5-hour break after the Ferrari power unit failed. "I am satisfied with this day. There were no surprises. Physically, I have to admit it was tough. I reached the limit." He will have longer than Kevin Magnussen did to find fitness when he replaced Nikita Mazepin in between the pre-season tests this year. Hülkenberg will know he has a lot of work to do before the pre-season test at the end of February in Bahrain. Until then, we're going to have to wait patiently as well to see our favourite F1 stars take to the track again. Who are you most excited to watch in 2023? And who do you think will be the biggest surprise? Let us know your opinion down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.